Welcome back to the Upper Tier, folks, the football podcast we bring you each and every week out there on YouTube. Head over there and smash that subscribe and bell notification button. We are now growing literally on a daily basis at this stage. Joining me tonight, we're back in the saddle again, my friend, after a bit of a hiatus. Dazzler, how are we?
I'm all right, pal. How are you?
Not too bad. Good to be back. Having to say that we did cover the transfer window in all of its glory, and safe to say it certainly didn't let us down. For a January transfer window, it was absolutely awesome.
Unless you're a United fan, obviously.
Or Arsenal.
Do Arsenal have fans?
There's a few of them around. A few of them still hanging in there, all right. Let's get into this anyway. We're back at it. This is our FA Cup and Premier League preview. I put Premier League in there, but there really only is one game, but we'll put it in there anyway because it's normally a Premier League preview that we were doing. But the FA Cup is back. The romance of the Cup is back this weekend, and we start off with Friday night, Man United versus Middlesbrough.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Isn't it like the old FA Cup, I have to say?
Yeah.
Nothing like an old FA Cup shock, is there?
No, not at all. I don't think this is going to be one, though.
This won't be one, no.
No.
Absolutely no. I know there's a couple of players missing and stuff like that, and obviously there's a couple of players have left the building for various different reasons. So, yeah, I expect to see a lot of changes, if I'm honest. I was kind of thinking about it on the way home in the car, and he'll probably go with Henderson in goal to get him minutes. I think Boy and Lindelof have been ruled out, and I don't think you go in with Varane against Middlesbrough. If I'm honest, we'll probably see Maguire and Jones. I know Tellez is out on the left-hand side, which probably means we'll have Shaw, and I think he might throw Wan-Bissaka in. So I think we could have an all-English back five. You know, that's my prediction. I think Pogba's due back as well, isn't he? And Jesse Lingard has the weekend off to get his head right after the transfer window.
I was listening to Ralph's press conference today, and he said that Paul Pogba would take some part in the game. I'm not sure whether he'll start him, but certainly we're going to see him at some stage.
I think no matter what,
that Luke Shaw will be playing as well, obviously. So
yeah, I think no matter what score the game is, at 60 minutes you'll see Pogba. I think he'll give him half an hour, regardless of the score. You know, I think he's obviously promoted the boy Hannibal up to the first team, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And this is a guy that we've been looking at for quite a while in the under-23s, and he's been, he's gone from being a bit part player originally to, a guy that's on the team sheet every week, and he's turning in performance and stuff like that. So I think that's this is a big plus for us coming in, and we need the likes of Elanga, we need the likes of Hannibal getting opportunities, especially with a new manager coming in this summer. He can maybe get a look at these guys ahead of time and say, all right, listen, they're able to do A and they're able to do B, and maybe we need to work on things. But if you can pick players up from your under 23s, then it might cut out a little bit of the needless spending,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a great time for them to get an opportunity. I mean, obviously, Martial has moved out, Donny van de Beek has moved out. Remember, Diallo has gone up to Rangers on loan and all, and started very well, I have to say. So yeah, it's a great opportunity for anyone who wants to, put a foot inside the door and lay down a marker potentially for a new manager coming in. This is your opportunity. You're certainly going to get it. It's not like United are going to run out the last 4 or 5 months of the year without any injuries. So they're going to need to call on these guys at some stage, no doubt. And they just have to be ready to grab that opportunity when it comes along.
Yeah.
I'm thinking this one tomorrow night, there'll be a little bit of build up to it, but the reality is United should run out reasonably easy on this one, shouldn't they?
Yeah, because I think Wilder's doing a great job up there, Chris Wilder, really, really is. And they've been a lot more solid since he's got in there, and they're nicking wins 1-0 all over the town. But I think he'll probably rest a couple of players. They're in the middle of a really tough championship season. If they can keep the ball rolling, they can probably get involved in the playoff situation. Now, I think they're probably too far out of the equation for the automatics, but they can certainly get involved in the playoff situation. You don't necessarily want to be rolling your big team out, because let's be honest, it's going to take an awful lot for Middlesbrough to get to that FA Cup final. And to waste an opportunity where you could rest some of your first team players or some of your week-to-week players in a game where, the odds are heavily stacked against you. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll put out a solid side, but I don't think it'll be anything special. I think the same will be said for Ralph. I think United do need minutes though before, because obviously they've had the winter break there and they've been away warm at training and stuff. So I think they'll want to have get lads minutes under their belts before the Premier League returns. So I just think United are going to have too much in the tank for them.
Yeah, I think United as well, if you look at it's as reasonable a February as you would want as well, considering their form coming into it. So, I think, but I still think if you look at it in terms of the Champions League, I think the Champions League would be a struggle for them this year. I don't think Atletico is even going to be that easy. And once you get past that, it's going to get more difficult in terms of their form. So I think the FA Cup could be a big trophy for United this year. I think it could be important in the bigger scheme of things. So maybe he may not play. Well, he might have to play weekend, maybe not by choice, but he may not have to play as weekend as we may think,
And no, I certainly don't think it'll be week, but he'll want to get certain lads minutes under their belt. Obviously Cavani's not available. He's carrying a little bit of a knock from the game, the Uruguay game. But no, he'll want to get lads minutes under their belts. You might see Hannibal. I'd imagine we'll see Shaw. You'll probably see Henderson. You'll probably see Elanga. You'll probably see Pogba at some stage. Stuff like that. I just think we'll have enough of them. 3-1 United, but comfy.
Yeah. I was thinking United and both teams to score. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Let's quickly touch the Premier League game. The one we have, Burnley versus Watford. Certainly wouldn't be one for the visuals, let's say.
No.
But, I'm interested to see this new boy that's gone in there, 6'7" for Burnley, or 6'6" or something like that.
6'5". He's definitely 6'5".
6'5" or something like that. Yeah.
6'5". Wout Weghorst.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to have a quick look at him. He plays
up front most of the game for the Dutch national team. He's the Dutch lad's main striker most of the time. He's big, he's physical, he can head the ball. He's reasonably good with his feet for a guy of that size, because typically when you think of somebody that's 6'5", he's a target man, and Burnley will use him in that kind of a way. He'll replace Chris Wood like for like, but I would say he's probably better with his feet than Chris Wood is. And I think his conversion rate's an awful lot better than Wood is. They've shipped Wood out at 30 million and they've brought this lad in at 12. If he can get 6-8 goals between now and the end of the season and keep Burnley in the league, this could be a stroke of genius, and end up 18 million in the black as well. It could be a really, really good piece of work from Sean Dyche, but it'll only be time will tell, with this one.
Yeah, it was an interesting move to get him in as well, you know what I mean? Because you would have thought this guy, if he's a regular in the Dutch side and stuff like that, that he would have been pitching himself maybe a little bit higher than Burnley. No disrespect to Burnley.
He's a little bit older.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily think any of the bigger sides are going to be in for him. And I think at this stage, he's probably looking at it like, if I'm playing in Germany, notoriously the wage packets in Germany aren't amazing.
Yeah.
So this could be a financial move for him. I mean, he could be on 40-50 grand a week here at Burnley.
This is a pension proper.
This could be a little pension proper. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we wish him well, and hopefully we'll
and listen, if he does well at Burnley, there's other sides in the league gonna look around and go, well, this guy's doing a job here as well. So there's a little bit of a shop window about it for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. FA Cup Saturday, then we move in Chelsea versus Plymouth Argyle. This is one for the handicaps, isn't it? The handicap bets when we talk about when I beat the bookie. So
yeah, it'll be a tough day at the office for Plymouth, won't it?
Yeah. Do you see this being a heavily changed Chelsea side?
Yeah, I think obviously with Chelsea have had quite a few injuries and stuff like that, but I also think, and we've seen them do it in the past, I think Tuchel's going to look at this and go, Lukaku and Werner need goals. We need to build confidence here. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go with a front three, maybe a Hudson-Odoi, a Werner and a Lukaku or something like that. And just go with a flat four, because I don't think Plymouth are gonna cause them too much trouble, or should, when you look at the difference in quality, But yeah, it should be comfortable for Chelsea. I think there'll be changes, but I think he may use it as a getting back to work kind of a and Everton, because again, league games are kicking back off next Tuesday and Wednesday night, I think.
That's right.
So they'll need to hit the ground running there, and he'll certainly want to get minutes under certain players' belts, don't he?
Yeah, I think most teams at this stage for February are going to be looking at at least 2 games a week. You're looking at 7 to 8 games a team at this stage with the backlog of fixtures, plus any teams that are still involved in the Cups and the Champions League coming back and the Europa and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a fairly hectic February. So they need to sort of dust off that rust from the 2-week break. And obviously there's a number of players as well that are going to be coming back from the AFCON. So they're going to need a little bit of time maybe to decompress and then come back in.
And there's also some lads who we know, don't take rest very well. Harry Maguire is a guy that needs 5 or 6 games to start looking like a footballer again. Anytime he's come back from anything, World Cup, injury, anything like that, suspension, he looks rocky for a couple of games. That's why I think he'll play for United. I would say something similar at Chelsea with Lukaku. I don't think he's necessarily better fresh. I think he's better when he's had a run of games and he's able to build himself into a rhythm.
Gets into a rhythm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we know he's had the issues with carrying a bit of extra lunch meat around at times. So I think he'll play. I think he'd like to have the game dusted by 50, 60 minutes and then make a couple of changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Kidderminster versus West Ham.
Yeah, but they won't make it easy, will they, Kidderminster? No. And having to go to these smaller grounds and these pitches that may not be great this time of year. Will make it more difficult. But I mean, West Ham have enough quality here, don't they? Again, I think you'll have a blend of the lads that were playing the Thursday night football and the lads that were starting the league games. And I think they'll have more than enough for Kidderminster.
Is this one where you think Moyes, would he ring the changes or would he be focused on the FA Cup? Do you think his mind is set as still in that top 4 race? Or I think it should be a reality check?
No, I think it should be. I think he's obviously disappointed they didn't manage to get a striker in January.
Yeah.
It seems like they had an awful lot of bids on the table and they'd money here and there for quite a few players and just couldn't seem to get anyone over the line.
Lingard being one of them, obviously. Yeah, absolutely.
Lingard being one of them, but I believe also at the debt there they put a transfer sheet in for the boy Duvan Zapata from Udinese.
That's right, yeah.
And it went in after the window closed and they didn't get it across the line. It was just a straight loan deal. And that was the last resort, because at one stage it looked like they had the boy Darwin Núñez, who I've spoken about a few times at Benfica. He was a really good footballer. Yeah. Again, couldn't get him over the line. There was a difference in estimated value from West Ham and from Benfica, but West Ham had over 40 million down on the table for him. So I don't think you're going in putting 40 million down unless you're really rolling the dice for that Champions League money.
Yeah, it's a weird one with me. I get so frustrated with teams when they've a whole month to do their business. Yeah. They don't have a backup plan that's in there ready to go and everything is down to the last minute. It's ridiculous. And to think that's a part of move that falls through could be the difference between a top 4 and potentially even falling out of a Europa spot. Potentially.
Well, here's the thing. I said Udinese he's at Atlanta, obviously. He was at Udinese previously. Yeah. We obviously played against him in the Champions League. Kid's a baller.
Yeah.
He's a baller. He's a big, strong, chunk of a lad. Holds the ball up well, moves well. He's strong, can head the ball. He's decent with his feet. If I'm West Ham and there's any injuries up the centre of that park with the likes of Mikel Antonio and stuff like that, I'm going to struggle for goals. Yeah. We know the 2 boys do really well out wide and stuff like that. Ben Rama and Bowen and Fornals and Lanzini and stuff like that. But they need a goal scorer. They really, really do.
Yeah. They've been heavily reliant on Bowen in December as well. And is he going to be able to sustain that form for the next 4 months? Probably not.
It was something I was a little bit surprised at. Now, we've spoken about this before, from the Championship and things like that. Why didn't they do something local? We know Blackburn have only 6 months left on the Ben Burton Diaz deal. What's he going to cost you come from the Championship with 6 months left? 6, 8, 10 of the push, right? At an absolute push. He's a proven goal scorer, this guy. He's a finisher. He's playing international football with Chile. He's scoring goals. on the international stage. So that does dispel, part of he has nothing in the Premier League, but he's doing it internationally. So we've got to give him his dues here. And he's clinical. Get the guy in, create a few chances for him. He's a different kind of a player to Mikel Antonio. He plays a little more on the shoulder, the last defender, rather than trying to bundle his way through everything.
Yeah.
And he's not built the way Antonio is, but he's a good finisher, man. And again, it could be 5, 6, 8 goals that could just get you over a line. And I just thought it's lazy.
It's amazing you say that, because I often, when you talk about in the international level and not having played in the Premier League, I often regard the form in the Championship in a higher regard, and this will shock people, than when you look at the Bundesliga and stuff like that. Because I think that Championship is a tough league, very tough to get out of. And if you're banging goals in there, there's quality about you there. And we've seen it time and time again. Premier Leagues go into that Championship, they pick up a nice tasty bargain there, anywhere from the 5 to 12 million mark. They're absolute ballers. Absolute ballers. They hit it out of the park nearly every time. They'll work their socks off you. They have a work ethic. It's 95 minutes every game. You won't get that from guys when you go scouting in the likes of the Bundesliga and that.
No, and I mean, like, again, I've said it before on the mashup and stuff like that with you and the lads. I would regard it as, the second best league in Europe. I really would.
Yeah.
I just think it's so tough. Even
from
twice a week,
even from a culture point of view, they're bedded in. It's easier to bed them into the Premier League than if you're bringing a guy in from a.
They're involved in the language. They may not even have to move too far. Like, if you're in a London club, like if I'm at Bert Diaz, I'm only going from Blackburn to London. It's not a million miles away. I could possibly even leave my family in Blackburn and commute. And not have the upheaval of starting life again and stuff like that. I just think it's a bit sloppy and it's a bit lazy. And, at the end of the day, if West Ham don't get what they're looking for at the end of this, they've only really got themselves to blame, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Because they put themselves in a great position, and there's no harm in like if you're speculating 6, 8, 10 million, it's only a fifth of what you're going to gain potentially out of the Champions League.
Absolutely.
And probably only maybe a third or a half of what you get even for a Europa spot. But if you start falling down into 7 and 8, you've really fucked up your season, haven't you, from a great position. And especially at a time where a lot of teams around you, they're not necessarily, there's a drop off in Arsenal. We know Spurs are barely getting over the line with 1-0s and stuff like that. We know United have been indifferent and they're going to have their problems. They've sent players out on loan. Obviously, the Mason Greenwood stuff has to be sorted and all that kind of stuff and everything, you know what I mean? So there's a lot going on there. And for West Ham, I know, exactly. Let's move on anyway. We're going West Ham there anyway, aren't we?
All day long.
All day long. Palace versus Harley Pill. This is one for our boy Jeff Stelling on Sky Sports. He's a big Harley Pill man, so he'll be invested in this now.
He's a big Harley Pill fan, but unfortunately he's going to be unhappy Harley Pill fan at the end of this one, I think, isn't he? Yeah, there won't be a shock here. Patrick Vieira will have these boys well drilled. And I think, again, we'll see a few changes, but I don't think that's a bad thing at times. I'd like to see the boy Eberechi Eze. I'd like to see Michael Elise. I'd like to see maybe Mateta. Zaha should be back from the AFCON. There's quite a bit about Palace. I think this is an ideal competition for Palace. With a decent draw, I could see Palace going quarterfinals maybe. Yeah,
there's a few goals for the boy Edward in this, isn't there?
That could be, yeah. He's been quiet enough. And again, I think that's maybe something that Patrick might look at and might think, you know what, let's get this kid a couple of goals, get the confidence up again, whip him off after 56 minutes and get him ready for the league game during the week.
Yeah, it's also another opportunity for a boy we speak fondly of, Conor Gallagher. Could be 1 or 2 in there for him as well. And like he's... I
don't know if he'll play. I'd be shocked if he plays.
I don't know. I think the FA Cup's a big deal for Palace. I think Vieira would be looking at this and have one eye on it and think, you know something, if I get through this one, and no doubt they will, and I get into the next stage, anything can happen with the draw. You know, you could find yourself closer and closer to Wembley.
Just think he's got, especially against Harley Pill, I think he's got like the likes of Milivojevic, he's got Will Hughes, he's got enough there in midfield to not have to put Conor Gallagher out, because the absolute last thing you want is to put Conor Gallagher out there and that happen to him.
Yeah.
And then you're in a league game, or you've 2 or 3 league games the next 10, 12 days, and you're going, geez, we're without one of our star men because we had him out against Hartley Pill. Do you know what I mean? I think they've more than enough in that midfield. That's why a lot of the boys that I'm talking about, Mateta, Eze and Elise.
Yeah.
They're not maybe first choice, but they're guys who I want to see get games, you know.
Yeah, I think the factor at Selhurst Park is a big deal as well. I think if they were away to Harley Pill, it might be a little bit different because I know they've been quite resilient and they are a good cup team, Harley Pill, in fairness, like, you know.
Mind you, you would say, you know, being at home should be an advantage because you get a reasonable pitch, but they'd have probably been better off at Harley Pill because that pitch is
but that's what I mean. That's why
is an absolute
favour them. Yeah, big time.
Spud patch.
Yeah, you would assume it's a little bit better though. It's had 2 weeks off, you know what I mean? It should be in reasonable nick at this stage. You know?
Are we looking for grass leak? Is that how? What a bad pitch! Oh my god, that groundsman will not be winning the pitch of the season in the groundsman thing. Not a chance.
You know you're still in trouble in 2022 when you're starting the white lines are starting to disappear during the game, huh? Let's move on. We got Palace there, I presume, all day. Yeah,
absolutely.
Everton versus Brentford. This is an interesting one. Frank Lampard after taking over, Dele Alli after going in, Donny van de Beek after going in. I'm not sure, are these boys eligible for FA Cup or?
Yeah, I don't think you can be cup tied in the FA Cup, can you?
Not from a cup tie point of view, but I seen the other day Ramsey wasn't eligible for Rangers. Sure, he wasn't, and he was signed in around the same time.
No, well, Ramsey actually wasn't fit.
Oh, that's what it was. Was it? I thought he wasn't eligible.
Ramsey pulled himself out of the squad because he said he wasn't match fit, and sat and watched it from the front row while they got tonked.
So that'll go down well with his teammates, huh?
Yeah. It was and I thought it was a really strange one because, like you, I thought maybe he's not eligible. Maybe the form didn't go in quick enough. Maybe they're waiting on FIFA clearance.
That's what I assumed it was, because I was thinking, absolutely, if there's ever a game you want to hit the ground on, it's a Celtic Rangers, isn't it? That's where you, because you get in there and you're a baller and you're like a legend straight away.
And somebody took an opportunity like that, but it was the boy Rio Hatate.
Yeah.
At Celtic, obviously he scored twice and assisted the third. Celtic were unbelievable on the night. Really, really were. Like, I just thought Rangers have been so good under Gerrard, and they started okay under Van Bronckhorst, but they were very poor in that game. I think we're at Everton here, if I'm honest. I think Frank he'll get a reaction. I think he's had enough time with the players. You know, he'll have a week with them pretty much. I think you'll see enough ideas of what he's trying to do. And I think maybe he'll take the Rafael Benitez shackles off, let's say.
Yeah.
You want to make an omelette, you have to break an egg. And I don't think Benitez was allowing that. I think it was all too structured, and, you know, I think creatively he was killing them a little bit, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. And that's kind of been his way for a long time as well. It's been a long time since he played progressive football, really, you know. I mean, his stint at Newcastle and stuff like that and all, he kind of changed them, really, you know. The one thing I would put out there, I think you're right in terms of Lampard and stuff like that, and it's last chance saloon, I presume, for Dele Alli, because if he can't revive his career there, you may forget about it. Obviously, Donny van de Beek in there as well. He's going to want to show United where they effect up all along on him and stuff like that. So he'll want to do that. What I would put out there, though, is this the stage where our boy Christian Eriksen comes alive?
I don't know. I don't know what his fitness levels are like, so I don't know if he'll be involved. You know, and if he is involved, like, this is going to be his first game of ball back in a while. So he's probably not starting the game. He's possibly only coming off a bench and maybe getting 15, 20, something like that.
Yeah.
I would say they'll wean him in very slowly. And I just don't think there'll be enough time in that. I think, to be honest with you, you know, you'll have the boy in Wemo and you'll have Ivan Toney and stuff like that. But again,
has Toney has he said sorry? Has he come back?
I think he's made it. I think he's gone in on bended knee, hasn't he, and apologized. But listen, it's more stupidity, isn't it, from footballers? Like, we're not surprised at this stage, are we?
We talk about the romance of the cup. Is the romance of this cup with 10 minutes ago, Eriksen comes on and gets the winner from a dead ball? Is that the romance?
Absolutely.
That would be the romance of the cup, isn't
I think if that happened, I think, you know, every football fan, regardless of team or support, would just rejoice in that.
I think we
Really,
nearly
really
order a
would.
Brentford shirt each, wouldn't we, with Ericsson on the back of it to that point nearly, you know what I mean?
I don't really do stripes, if I'm honest, but I could certainly have a look at the training top of the away.
I don't have to wear it. I could hang it in the background. I don't have to wear it.
Yeah, listen, it'd be brilliant, you know, really, really would.
Yeah.
And we wish him well. We wish him luck, you know. And I mean, like, when we look at it, like, there is other guys that have been playing with these little issues, you know. Daily Blind, obviously, is the most prominent player, you know. He's had issues with Ajax and stuff with the heart. He's been off a couple of times, but they've looked at him, they've fitted him with stuff, devices and bits and pieces, and they've said, no, you're okay to go, and to be honest, like, he's playing some of the best football of his career at this stage under Erik ten Hag. And, you know, he's been very good. He's a constant in that Dutch national squad as well. So, you know, let him at it, and hopefully it goes well for him.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of sit here and wish Frank well as well, because I thought the Chelsea thing was tough, you know. But Frank, you joined the wrong fucking club if you want me to wish you well.
I think this was a strange fit for Frank. I think I understand the opportunity of Everton, and I understand the opportunity of the squad, and then you get a Dele Alli, and then you get a Donny van de Beek, and you've got a couple of new fullbacks and lots of good stuff. But I don't know. It's the
fan base, isn't it? It's the fan base. If they go in on him as well, if he gets a couple of dodgy results or doesn't deliver some results, you know, they will be selling those Lampard out flags. There's no.
Yeah, but I don't think they go in on him because, you know, weren't they the ones to put him up on that pedestal? Which for me, I found strange. You know, there was talks of the boy Victor Pereira and stuff like that coming in, and
no.
They obviously spray painted outside the ground that they were like Pereira out, Lampard in.
Martinez.
He's the chosen one. Martinez, we don't want him. And someone else, we don't want them. We only want Frank. Now, it becomes strange to me that the fans are making these decisions, you know, rather than the board. Like, we've heard fans talk about football, our own fans. You've heard your own Liverpool fans talk about football and go, whoa, what's going on here? And I've heard United fans, and I'm thinking, you shouldn't even get a vote in an election, pal. And all of a sudden, like, they've gone with the unanimous choice of the fans. And I just think, have they done it to kind of say, well, listen, there's another one didn't work. So I don't know. I'm very skeptical of this, I have to say.
Yeah, this is what you wanted. Now that you have it, deal with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 110%. Yeah.
No, I think he'll do all right there. I don't think he's finished in terms of squad or anything like that. And it is a big opportunity because obviously they do have the work that's going on with the new ground and all the development and stuff like that. So if it did work out for him, you know, we could see Everton again rise up and become a decent club again. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And he's getting in there at the right time where he's at, like, I think this is reset start again for Everton without a shadow of a doubt. I think they were all in on Ancelotti and he just out of there.
Well, I think
Benitez was ridiculous.
I think because it's a reset, I think the fans themselves will at least know this isn't a quick fix.
Yeah.
So that gives you maybe, you know, 12 months, 18 months of grace, as opposed to Rafa going in and knowing
the only thing is they're going to have to deliver something because their league position is fairly dodgy as well, you know.
But they'll
have enough, like, you know. And I've said it before, I don't want them to get relegated.
They're a handy 6 points, aren't they?
Well, Merseyside Derby, you know.
I keep them in there with the 6 points.
Are you going with Everton on this, eh?
I'm going with Everton, yeah. He liked the LFA Cup for Frank.
Yeah.
I think they'll do all right. They might even be a shock team for it.
Yeah, I think they'll do
a dark horse.
I have a twinkle in my eye there about Christian Eriksen if he was to get involved and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
I think it'll be great, but I don't know how much we'll save him and how much impact he can have that soon. You know,
I feel like I'm hearing I'm selling fans tickets nearly. You know, it's that kind of thing there. You know what I mean? The Don King and me coming out every week
in the away, yeah, and the Goodison.
Yeah, this is number 30 in the Royal Rumble, isn't it? Man City versus Fulham.
Yeah, like, in theory, this should be all right. This should be one of the better games. City obviously coming back from that break. Fulham, we know, are flying in the Championship.
Carvalho,
Mitrovic, Mitrovic will absolutely love being up against Diaz and Laporte because he'll be super physical, the elbows everywhere. Your biggest problem with Mitrovic in a game like this is making sure he doesn't see red, because we know he has a habit of doing stupid things and trying to leave one on someone. But listen, Fulham are a well-drilled team. Marco Silva has them playing well and stuff like that. I think if he goes with his full side, they'll give City a reasonable game. Now, I think if he makes changes to his own team, I think that's when you could see it get messy, 3-4-5 like that for City. But if Fulham go out with what they have, I think this could be close enough.
Yeah, it's one to watch. Well, a lot of City's games have been close enough, you know what I mean? So you're saying just before the break there, the draw with Southampton and stuff like that and all. And, prior to, what happened in that game, I mean, Southampton had a couple of chances as well, even though they sat back a bit, so interesting. We have noticed this season as well, City have been giving up chances, but they've been strong enough to see it out. But I don't think the shock of the round would be coming here. I think it's kind of nailed on for City. Southampton versus Coventry.
Yeah, again, opportunities for a banana, isn't there? Coventry have been all right in the Championship this season. I'm an avid follower of the Championship. Yeah. Coventry have done all right, and they really have. They've been one of the surprise packages in the Championship this season. Picked up a nice win the last day. I think this could be tight. I know Southampton are, we like Ralph, we like the governor and stuff like that. Southampton at times can be short of goals. Yeah. That's the only problem. And Coventry aren't generally short of goals.
It was kind of like the break came at the wrong time for Southampton. They were showing a bit of form, weren't they?
Just showing a bit of form. They're just starting to hit their straps.
Great result against City.
The rug was pulled out from under them. He just went, this could be tight. I wouldn't be surprised to see this maybe only decided by an odd goal. And this might be one of my ones to watch for my banana skins.
You're gonna lean towards your Championship alliances here, right?
I'm probably gonna stick with Southampton, but I think there'd be a bit in this. I think this might be one of the ones we look back on and go, wow, what a game! This wasn't a great performance and blah. So yeah,
just like your previous round, the Charlton game that you had. Yeah, where they gave you didn't feel too bad about losing because they gave you a good showing for your money.
They gave us value for money, absolutely. And we obviously had Huddersfield who dumped Burnley out. Yeah.
So you're leaning towards Coventry?
No, I'll stick with Southampton. It's gonna be tight.
I'm sticking with the governor as well, and I'm thinking maybe a nice little set piece from James Ward-Prowse, our boy that we talk about a lot.
We did, don't we?
Wolves versus Norwich.
Yeah, this is Wolves all day long for me.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, Wolves all day long. Again, Norwich. You can't be, if you're Norwich, you can't be pointing out any sort of side in this, can you?
I wouldn't have thought so. Not if you have ambitions to survive. And it looks like they're trying to put themselves in that position. I mean, we would have thought 8 weeks ago they were dead and buried, and we said it on a number of shows.
Buried.
But the way the league has restructured itself in terms of results and stuff like that, they have a great opportunity. Any team down there now in that bottom five, say, if they put together 1 or 2 results, boom, they're jumping, they're moving serious numbers, So yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you reckon
I think this
Wolves?
Is Wolves, because I think Wolves quality, beyond their first 11 will be too much for Norwich, if that makes sense. Yeah. I don't think Wolves will have a great go at this in general, as in the FA Cup. I could be wrong, but I think they'll just keep plugging away in the league, putting in performances, making it difficult for teams.
Trying to finish as
high up as they can.
Yeah.
If Wolves could finish 7th, that'd be a great season. Great season.
Yeah. Interesting to see Wolves as well now post Adama Traore. Should be interesting as well.
Yeah, I suppose we know what he brought them. But
we also know what he didn't.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's a headache that goes away, isn't it? And all of a sudden you go, oh well, I can't play him on the right now, but I can play the young lad Trincao, who I know is a baller.
Yeah.
And give him extra game time, and I have to worry about this senior player going, where's my time? When am I playing?
Yeah.
you know, and having the argument of, well, you could play if you could either put the ball in the net or put the ball on someone to put them in the net, and that's not happening, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
So Wolves, we're going with on that one.
We're going Wolves.
Spurs versus Brighton. This is one I wouldn't necessarily call it a banana skin, but this is one that I could potentially fancy Brighton here.
Yeah, possibly. Again, I think it depends on what Spurs go with. You know, whether like who have they got to play up front other than Harry Kane? They're very light up front. No. So, you know, yeah, you're probably talking the boy. Is it Dane Scarlett, the boy, the younger lads? Possibly something like that. But other than that, I mean, you're going with Kane, and maybe you're going with some of your new boys and stuff like that, you know. And just trying to get them game time. We might see Kulusevski, you know, we might see Bentancur.
Oh yeah.
And maybe just, you know, a sprinkling of some of the new lads with some lads again need game time, because I think Spurs really need to hit the ground running next week.
That's why I think if he goes down that route with giving those boys a bit of bedding in time or something like that, that's where Brighton, who are quite an established side, if you look at Brighton's 11 more or less picks itself and rarely changes.
It does, unless you play cup competitions, and he changes it quite a lot in the cup. He has two separate sides. He has Premier League and cup competitions, and there's always a massive rollover of players.
But he might fancy.
That's where.
Yeah, he might fancy it though, going down there with Spurs kind of. I mean, we know Conte can't be overly happy with the window. I mean, he lost more players than he brought in, and he was crying out for players before he even lost anyone. So I'm just wondering now, I know the two boys that have come in, there's a bit of quality there. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, when you see the likes of Ndombele going out and Dele Alli going out.
Celso, Dele Alli.
There's a bit
Sissoko's only gone from the summer. So, like, there's 40 midfield players.
Yeah.
4 spots gone. So, what are you left with?
Yeah.
Hallberg, Skip, Winks.
So you're sort of looking at it and you think he's come through a window here where he was crying out for players. Are they stronger? It'll be hard to know.
It's hard to know, but the other thing I would say, and when I speak about Spurs, I'm probably speaking about Spurs and United on this one, is that at times, you know, making those changes, and when you get certain bodies out the window, you know, maybe it changes the atmosphere around the place, because maybe you don't have an Anthony Martial who's a bit humpy because he's not playing. Maybe you don't have a Donny van de Beek who's huffing and puffing and maybe dragging the tone down slightly. I'm not saying, you know, he's doing it purposely, but it's got to be disheartening for a guy like Donny van de Beek who's going out week to week, putting the effort in, not getting the game time. Starts feeling a bit low on himself. Maybe a couple of other guys take a hit and go, oh, Donny's not fit. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And all of a sudden it's in and it's eating away at your side. So I think when you clear the decks like that, it can be good at times, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I just think the two boys coming in though, there'll be a bit of bedding in. This is a different world.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Sunday. Are you going with Spurs?
I'm going with Spurs, yeah.
I'm going to go with Brighton here. I think the expectation would be that he might change it around a bit. I don't know. I think he might go strong against Spurs. Be interesting to see. Sunday, Liverpool versus Cardiff.
Strange one. Cardiff have just pretty much sold their best player. It was fairly strange, if I'm honest. Like the boy Kiefer Moore, who plays up front, he's just gone to Bournemouth, 3.5 million. He was their goal scorer, you know. Anything good about Cardiff went through Cardiff, and all of a sudden he's not there, and you're just thinking that was a strange one for 3.5 million. Like, he's a Wales international.
Yeah.
So that's going to take a massive hit. Liverpool are lovely, you know. You'll see possibly maybe Cade Gordon. You'll probably see, you know, Jota. You'll probably see guys like that, but there's going to be more than enough in this Liverpool team to make this a nice comfy day at the office, I think.
Yeah, I think this is one to just get out of the way and move on and prepare for matches coming up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm disrespecting Cardiff in any way, but
no, I just don't. The quality's not there at all. Yeah. I mean, they're struggling in the Championship, and they just sold their best player. They haven't just got better; they've got worse. So
yeah. Valentine's Day is coming up, but there ain't going to be any romance here for Cardiff, I'd imagine, on Sunday.
Absolutely not.
One for me that's mouth-watering on Sunday, Nottingham Forest versus Leicester. I'd like to get your thoughts on this now. This is
nice Midlands kind of a derby, isn't it? This will be decent. This will be tasty. Forest, obviously, and Forest obviously, in good form after dumping the Gooners out in the last round. We know Leicester have been kind of hit and miss this season. They've had some good performances, they've had some bad performances and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be very, very tough for Leicester. I really, really do. I think maybe this could be another banana skin.
I don't know if I'm leaning towards Forest here. I think that's a tough place to go with a tough crowd and a cup competition. And I think Leicester with that soft underbelly, the likes of Tillemans wanting to go. Rodgers has, they've shown that soft underbelly. I don't know how many times this season they've shit the bed from kind of more or less winning situations.
Yeah.
And I just think Forest being so physical as well, they're such a physical team, especially in the middle of the park. I don't know whether Leicester are going to fancy this or not. I don't think this is the match they wanted coming back off the break.
Absolutely not. No, and Forest will be at this from the word go. They really, really will.
Till 90 as well.
100%, because we know with that championship, it's so physical. Yeah. They won't tire out. Yeah. And I mean, that championship regularly goes on 95, 97, 98 minutes.
They
still scoring goals.
They bullied Arsenal.
Yeah. And they'll try to do the same thing with Leicester.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are we going? We're going Forest? After all that, I'm going with Leicester.
we'll go Forest.
Yeah, I'm thinking of going Forest here as well. I think this will be, you're calling it the shock of the round, but I don't even know whether I'd pencil it down as a shock with the way the results have gone for Leicester.
No, well, I mean, listen, on league position, it's a shock, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you're reading it on paper rather than looking at it with your eyes type thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think if you look at it, you'll go, this could go either way here, really,
Yeah, well, I'm kind of thinking if I'm going into battle with 11 lads who are going to war in the championship every week, or am I going into battle with 11 lads who've been kind of shitting the bed a bit in the Premier League?
And I mean, there's a bit of quality in that Forest side, there is, so it won't be a massive surprise, but it'll still be a little cup shock, won't it?
Forest will be dying for this, they will.
Yeah, champion.
Right. So that is it, my friend. That is our FA Cup and a little bit of Premier League preview. Just so our viewers know, we will be doing a Premier League preview. There's a lot of midweek matches coming up, so no doubt on Monday we will drop a Premier League preview for those midweek matches. My friend, a pleasure being on. This has been your Premier League and FA Cup preview on the Upper Tier on YouTube. Head over there and drop us your support, folks. We're growing every day at this stage. If you want to contact the show, the Upper Tier Podcast on Gmail, of course, you'll get us there. We're on Facebook and Instagram, the Upper Tier, and we're also, Darren, out on TikTok, baby, and on Twitter at @the_upper_tier. Check us out there. Let us know what you think. Let us know your picks for the weekend. Where is the banana skins going to come from? Will the romance return? Will our boy Christian Eriksen step up and score the winner? Can the romance be back at that level? Who knows? Say yes. We like the boy. Say yes. Don't be upset.
We like the boy, but we also live in the real world, not in the fantasy land. So, Listen,
we shall see. Pleasure, my friend. Cheers.
Thanks, pal.